If I asked you, what are the most iconic images of Scotland? What would you say? Where did we see them first? If I said that the answer would be the town at the very heart of Scotland that encapsulates every bit of our history, from Roman invasion to William Wallace, Robert Burns, Industrial Revolution and modern icons, you might be starting to guess that today I'm going to show you how Scotland was made in Falkirk. If you're interested in the people, places and events in Scottish history, then click the subscribe button at the bottom right of the screen. And if you enjoy this video, then give it a thumbs up, share it and watch the next one. In the meantime, let me tell you a story. Tourists flock to Edinburgh, Tartan seekers to the Highlands. But this town has more Scottish history packed in per head of population than just about any other. We've got a lot to cover, and I'm going to start by taking you to the unlikeliest of places to tell you about one of the most incredible finds. Okay, so I know this just looks like a nondescript traffic-laden road for me to introduce you to Falkirk, but there's a reason for starting here. Back in 1933, in the depths of the Depression, workmen were levelling the ground just across the road there. When Robert Wallace dug his spade into the sand, it hit something strange. Now, it so happened that Robert had been in Greece during the First World War and had seen buried ancient artefacts. So he put down his spade and started moving the earth with his hands. He saw the top of a pot. When he dug round it and lifted it out to place it onto his jacket, the fragile pot split open and hundreds of silver coins appeared. His workmates thought it was a scramble and made a rush for the loose coins. Oh! But he knew this was something special. So he folded his jacket over the find, carried it to the tool shed and locked it up. Thank goodness for Robert Wallace, because that find is now housed in the National Museum of Scotland. Almost 2,000 Roman silver denarii found here. But they weren't the most Scottish thing buried here 400 metres north of the Antonine Wall. I should probably explain that. There's something else that I need to show you. I'm guessing the Roman emperor most folks associated with Britain is Hadrian. He built that big wall, didn't he? In a housing estate on the edge of Falkirk that used to get a little bit of a reputation, you'll find the most unexpected thing. When Hadrian died, the next emperor up was Antonine Pius. Well, he wanted a wall too, didn't he? So he sent the governor of Britannia north to beat up the locals and build a new wall from the Clyde to the Forth. On the west side of the town, just off Tamford Hall Road, you can clearly see the structure of that Antonine turf wall with a ditch in front of it. Tamford Hill got a dodgy rep back in the 90s. I should know. Me and my missus bought our first house here. Now, Falkirk folks know just what a gadgie I am. At one point, this whole area was hoaching with Romans. They reckon around 7,000 soldiers along the Antonine frontier. This wall was literally the frontier between Roman control and the northern tribes. That hoard of coins was found 400 metres north of this wall. The dates on the coins mean that they must have been buried sometime after 230 AD. Now, in 210 AD, the Roman Emperor Septimius Severus came north to wipe out the local Brythonic tribes. My old mucker and archaeologist Murray Cook tells me that the whole area was devastated in the genocide that followed. And for decades, economic activity ceased. It was during that time that those coins were hidden by somebody who never came back for them. Out of that dark period, those northern tribes emerged stronger, and the Romans started to call them Picts. Just one way that you can see the making of Scotland in Falkirk. I told you that Iron Age hoard had more Scottishness to reveal, because if you visit the hoard in the museum, you'll also see a piece of the cloth stopper that held the coins in the urn. It is the oldest tartan discovered in Scotland. Some chieftain has a hoard of coins, maybe paid by Rome as reward, maybe a bribe. Maybe the Romans think that he's reneged, maybe a neighbouring tribe, maybe his own people. He buries his savings in a clay urn, stuffed to the mouth with a tartan cloth, buried for 1700 years. Or maybe it's a trader trying to open trade after the genocide. There may be other explanations for a bunch of silver held in with our first discovered tartan. I suppose you could technically argue that it wasn't tartan but a check, but I'm holding out for tartan on behalf of the people of Falkirk, whose town is so important to the development of Scotland. By the time the Romans left, the people north of here were Picts. Across to the west, they were Gaels. To the south, Brittonic tribes were pushed west as the Angles arrived from the continent. So just like this had been the frontier between Roman and barbarian Britain, it was now a crossroads between Pict, Gael, Briton and Angle, 4 proto-kingdoms that would become Scotland. At some point, a church was built here. Some say it was in the 7th century, built by St Morden, the patron saint of the town. Others suggest a later one was built by Malcolm Canmore when he ascended the throne in 1057 after finally vanquishing Macbeth. If so, it must have been made of mottled stonework, because that's how it was described. In English today, you'd say it was a speckled church. In Malcolm's Gaelic, Eccles Vric. In Scots, Falkirk. It was probably just a standalone church with farmland back in that day. Maybe a house dotted here or there. But it was the fact that it was a crossroads of the peoples of Scotland that made this town. It's been named in Gaelic, Welsh, Norman, French, Latin, Lowland Scots and English. All peoples who met at this crossroads and gave it its turbulent history. And here is a reminder of the turbulent history. This is the tomb of a special guy, Sir John de Graham. Now, if you wondered why the main road leading north is Graham's Road, or the train station next to it, Falkirk Grahamson, then look no further than this guy. Sir John was buried here after he fell at the Battle of Falkirk, one of the commanders fighting alongside William Wallace. They brought him to the Falkirk for interment as Wallace shed tears. They say he was Wallace's best friend. Over the centuries, you can see how memorials, tributes and ornamentation have been added to celebrate this man who was Falkirk's first hero. Here lies Sir John de Graham, baith white and wise, ane of the chiefs who rescued Scotland thrice. In better night, not to the world was lent, nor was good Graham of truth and hardiment. I made a video about him if you want to know more. I'll pop it in a playlist at the end. My mate David Reid plays the role of John de Graham in reenactments. In fact, David puts on a fantastic event here each summer to commemorate the Battle of Falkirk. You should come along. It's one of the high points of Falkirk's year, and Falkirk is key to Scotland's history. But there's another grave in this churchyard with huge significance to all our islands, and he's another hero of the Battle of Falkirk. This is Sir John Stewart of Bonkell. He was the commander of the archers at the Battle of Falkirk. When the Scottish cavalry fled the field, those archers were left exposed. The English cavalry charged through them and Sir John was cut down. When he fell from his horse, his archers rallied around their fallen lord and were killed to the man. Now, his name's a bit confusing. He got the lands inherited by his wife and took her name, Bonkle.
Lady Bonkle. Sound like she gets up to a bit of rumpy-pumpy.
His own birthright was the second son of Alexander IV, High Steward of Scotland. That makes his elder brother the granddad of Robert II, the first Stuart King of Scots. Sir John here also has a direct royal ancestor. His 2 times great grandson gets a mention in my live stand-up show Scotland Made the World. John Stuart of Darnley is his name. He died fighting with the French at the Battle of the Herons that gave us Joan of Arc. But his descendant, Henry Lord Darnley, married Mary Queen of Scots. So this guy's an ancestor of Darnley, his brother is an ancestor of Mary, and their son united the Scottish and English crowns. If the English had just given up at the Battle of Falkirk, it would have saved us all a lot of bother. Anyway, why not come and let me tell you about the shenanigans with some jokes along the way at my show in Edinburgh, Kirkcaldy, Hawick or Stirling. Tickets are at www.brucefummey.co.uk. I'll see you there. This is a shopping centre. So why are we going in here? As that crossroads between north and south and between the Forth and Clyde, Falkirk was a popular spot for folks wanting a battle. The Battle of Falkirk Muir was the last Jacobite victory before Culloden. Jacobites travelling east from Glasgow, Hanoverians travelling west from Edinburgh, and bang, they met here. And it's commemorated in the stained glass window in the Howgate shopping centre, with Bonnie Prince Charlie flanked by his generals Lord George Murray and Sir John Drummond. It would be an oversimplification to say that these 2 battles bookended Scotland's status as an independent country. But there's a kind of symmetry that emphasises the centrality of this town in our nation's story. Both the battles are memorialised in the town's crest. Check this out. These were the borough buildings, and if you look up, you'll see a version of the Falkirk coat of arms with 2 young Highland laddies carrying a banner around a shield with symbols of both battles. In the more modern version of the Falkirk arms, you see the lion rampant carrying a shield with a Falkirk in the middle, cross swords and a shield for Wallace's battle, and cross swords and a targe for Charlie's. They're adorned with the mottos of the town: touch ane, touch awe, and better meddle with a deal than the bairns of Falkirk. Do you want to know why we call Falkirk people bairns? Come with me. Now, if you've been watching my videos, then you'll know that fairs and markets and all sorts of civic events were held around a market cross. An X marks the spot on the high street where the market cross stood. Now, I don't know when the cross disappeared, but I do know it could only arrive after permission was given for the town to have borough status. A borough was given a charter to hold markets and annual fairs. Boroughs were either set up under the king, royal boroughs, some local abbot or religious house, ecclesiastical boroughs, or a local baron, a borough of barony. Falkirk was set up as a borough of barony in March 1600 under Alexander Livingston, the bigwig local noble. But I said I'd tell you why we call the people of Falkirk bairns. This is the Cross Well. Now, it's been moved about a bit over the years as the access, traffic and rights of way in the high street have changed. But the story goes that this well was first put here in 1681 or 1682. A drought had left the 2 burns in the town dry. I just realised for our international viewers, a burn is a stream. Anyway, Alexander Livingston's second Earl of Callendar arranged for water to be piped from his lands in what's now Callendar Park to the wellhead that he erected here. It was his gift to the people of Falkirk. Apparently, it had been the idea of the old First Earl, an old military man who'd had to flee the country to live in the Netherlands during the whole War of the Three Kingdoms business. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, he was back from exile and this was erected in a time of drought. We're told that the famous old general gathered all his town tenants round about the cross, thanked them for the gallantry with which they had fought on his side and reminisced about the many fields through which their fathers had followed his. He took a quaich of pure water from the well stream that poured out of the mouth of the sculptured lion. He stood up in the stirrups and drank a toast to the wives and the bairns of Falkirk. And from then till now, the people of Falkirk have been known as bairns. Now, the one flaw in the story is that the old First Earl died 8 years before the well was erected. But that just shows how resilient the people of Falkirk are. The Falkirk Bairns. Do you recognise this? It's the badge of Falkirk Football Club. The steeple you can see in the badge is that. Oh, it's been through the wars over the years. It's crumbled under pressure a few times. A bit like the local football team. I think that is the third version, built in 1814, but in June 1927 it was struck by lightning. The spire blew off, the side crumbled, and it killed a passing horse. The steeple at the centre of the town had to be renewed several times, and the town in the centre of Scotland did the same when the heirs of our Stuart brothers mentioned in the graveyard led to a united kingdom of Scotland and England. Imagine the town here buzzing with all sorts of people, Highlanders, Lowlanders, English, and some guy called Tom Cobley. Cattle drovers, dealers, all sorts of other traders and service providers needed accommodation, banking, transport, entertainment. Outside the town, steam rose on high from lowing cattle as far as the eye could see. The Union relaxed trade barriers with England, and the English had a taste for Scottish beef long before Jamie Fraser was on the scene. Falkirk was transformed as the main cattle tribes moved south from Crieff. Falkirk was a crossroads for people, a crossroads for cattle, and a crossroads for commerce. As people met, business boomed. But there was a bigger boom to come. Do you know what this is? And do you know why it's here? It's built in the Scottish baronial style, so popular in Victorian times during the pomp of the British Empire. Indeed, what it reminds us is of the huge contribution that Falkirk made through Britain's Industrial Revolution and Empire. The clock tower is a sea-listed remnant of a much bigger complex of buildings. The clock let workers know what time it was as they started their shifts at the Tartan ironworks. In 1759, chemist Dr. John Roebuck, merchant William Cadell and entrepreneur Samuel Garbett set up the Tartan Company. It was at the birth of the Industrial Revolution and Falkirk was getting in the act. It transformed Scotland. Indeed, It transformed Great Britain. They began iron production on the 1st of January 1760, 14 years after Culloden and 16 years before the design of Edinburgh's new town. It was one of Britain's first large-scale integrated ironworks. Blast furnaces, casting, engineer, mining, transport and marketing. This site on the north bank of the River Tartan was brilliant, with access to coal, iron ore, water power, river transport and 4 ports. Again, Falkirk's central location was crucial. And again, it brought a mix of different people. Skilled workers came from established English iron districts. That caused a bit of fisticuffs. Highlanders came as glens cleared and Irish Catholics crossed the sea to Presbyterian central Scotland. That wouldn't have reduced tensions either. You can imagine that a plant like this produced loads of different stuff. Pig iron, cast iron, stoves and kitchen ranges, pots, pans, architectural pillars and ornamental fixtures. They also made loads of military equipment here, one piece of which was named after Tartan Ironworks, the carronade. The carronade was a particular type of cannon that was first produced here 10 years after they opened. It had a shorter barrel, so whilst it meant a shorter range, it was lighter, used less gunpowder, had lower recoil and needed fewer men to operate it. It was perfect for the sort of naval short-range combat. You know, the kind of one that Admiral Nelson enjoyed. He had 2 on his ship Victory at the Battle of Trafalgar. Wellington loved Tartan cannon as well. Lightweight carronades were easier to transport across the Iberian Peninsula during the Peninsular War to the climax of Napoleonic conflict at the Battle of Waterloo. Falkirk was not only key to the development of Scotland, but Victory in the key events that established the dominant century of British Empire. But there's more. This iron gate stands on the boundary of what was the Tartan Company Ironworks. It was cast at the height of Victoriana for the 1886 Edinburgh International Festival exhibition. But this wasn't made by Tartan Ironworks. The 20-ton arch was moved here when it was refurbished in 2002. It was made by Grahamston Iron Company in Falkirk and it won a Diploma of Honour. The point is that iron production had mushroomed and other businesses had opened in the area. Coal mines dug, canals had been built. This area had become the hub and focus of so much of the industrial development, not just in Scotland, but Great Britain. Now, these are only remnants of Falkirk's pomp. The coal mines have shut down, the ironworks bulldozed, the powerhouse waterways of Union and Forth and Clyde canals are now used for recreation. The stunning Falkirk wheel still speaks of the glory years of canal engineering, and you can watch my video about the Union Canal in the playlist at the end. There's never enough time in these videos to cover everything that I'd like to do about the town, so feel free to add your thoughts in the comments below. But I want to finish with 2 enduring icons of Scotland that were made in Falkirk. Don't you just love them? They're not just the inspirational public art that we pass every time we drive along the M9. They represent the workhorses of the canals that linked Falkirk to the world and the mystery of Highland folk tales brought by migrants as Falkirk industrialised. But there's another connection that probably never occurred to you. It's your other national drink, Iron Brew. You see, it was here in Burnfoot Lane in 1875 that Robert Barr first started to make aerated drinks. And I'm sure you know that one of those aerated drinks would become the most famous in Scotland with the invention of Barr's Iron Brew. It was first sold in 1901 as Iron Brew, but it fell foul of labelling regulations. You see, there was iron in the delicious drink, but it wasn't brewed. So the spelling was changed to Iron Brew, and the rest, as they say, is history. Horses. From the time that Sir John Boycott was dragged from his at the Battle of Falkirk, to the old early calendar sitting on his to christen Falkirk Bairns, to the horse killed by the collapsing thunderstruck steeple. Of course, in the early days of A.G. Barr, they too depended on workhorses for deliveries. What I didn't mention was that the horse that was killed by that 1927 steeple collapse was making deliveries of Barr's soft drinks. The most famous of Barr's workhorses was one called Carnera. It was a huge 19-hand high horse brought down from Perthshire in 1930. Local history says that it was the biggest workhorse in the world. Let me know in the comment section if you know different. Carnera was a bit of a local celebrity. Sadly, in January 1937, he slipped on frost in Falkirk's Cow Wynd, was badly injured, and, well, I'll leave it to your imagination, in case there are any horse lovers watching. From that junction on the Roman frontier where our earliest tartan was found, to the melting pot of peoples who would make Scotland, the central place that brought the clash and steel and national resistance, burial place of Scottish heroes and the ancestors that would forge British royalty, the heart of industrial Scotland and the home of our most iconic drink. Just some of the ways that Scotland was made at the crossroads that we call Falkirk. I've made a playlist of some of the videos that relate to this story. There's a choice of that or the story of another Scottish town coming up on screen now. Get tickets for one of my last remaining stand-up shows, Scotland Made the World, at www.brucefummey.co.uk. In the meantime, ha mi an dóchas go bí lama life. Chéri an drasta.